Hello, my name is Kat, aka Kakibot, and I make videos about Scotland. And I am, this year, turning 33 years old, which, per Middle Earth culture, is the time when a hobbit turns adult. And that is why I'm doing something I have wished to do for the longest time. I am staying in a Hobbit Hole. There are two beautiful Hobbit Holes here for you to stay in, kind of like Stirling, Dunblane area, so not super far away from both Glasgow and Edinburgh. And yeah, we are staying here for 2 nights and we have decided to take you with us because this is going to be very special. Let's go. Hello, I hope you're here strictly on party business. Okay, so this is our little Hobbit Hole. It's the Green Barrow, or I think that it used to be called Bag End. Maybe they changed that because of copyright reasons. Anywho, we're now gonna go in and I'm gonna show you what's in here and if you're visiting, what it is that you should bring with you and what is already here, because this place, considering how tiny it is, has a lot going on. So as you could see from our little walkthrough, there is just so much to take advantage of in this tiny space. I mean, even just behind me you can see the great little standalone bathtub. By the way, later we're gonna show you the loo. It's something else. Anyway, then you have this like little bed. It is quite on the smaller side, but if you're traveling with your partner, that's not gonna be a problem because it will be cold at night and you will want to cuddle, trust me. Even if you're not normally cuddlers, you will need to cuddle to survive. Yeah, because we are here in May and I mean the days are not really warm and the nights are still quite cold. You might be luckier in the summer. By the way, speaking of summer, there are these two kind of skylights which are advertised as skylights from which you can watch the stars at night, which I think theoretically is a possibility because there is not very much, I mean, if any, light pollution here. This is literally in the middle of nowhere and it's off grid. There is no electricity here. There is one little plug in the bathroom, so if you want to charge your phone, it's gonna be chilling in, you know, in the same little room as the loo. There's also a pair of binoculars. There's a bunch of these little kind of battery operated lamps, which to be honest are almost more decorative than practical, especially during the day. Like, it's quite nice and dim here even during the day. Like right now it's basically midday, it's like the brightest it should be and you can probably tell that it's quite dark anyway. What else? There's a little bird watching book, there's a little dictionary of Scots language, because this is called the Craighead Howfs, and Howf is the old Scots word for like a shelter or a hideout. So now we are in the little dining area, which is this little table with 2 chairs. There's also 2 super tiny kind of hobbit-sized armchairs, which are surprisingly very comfy. You can sit in them around your little wood-burning stove and it's like a super cozy activity for the evening. I mean, there's not much else to do, to be honest. I think that it's a bit dark here for reading. Now in the kitchen area, you have a kind of a gas stovetop with like 2 bits to it, so you can be making yourself eggs and preparing water for coffee in the morning. By the way, they also give you some instant coffees, kind of similarly to when you come to a hotel. There's little baggies of UHT milk as well. So if you come here and you super need a cup of coffee and you don't quite mind what sort of coffee it's gonna be, then they're gonna be ready for you. And I was mentioning coffee and cooking. You don't actually have to go all the way to Dunblane. You can actually pop over to the Honesty Shop. That's a part of the Craighead Howfs sort of area. It's kind of right when you arrive, and there's nobody manning it. It's the most cute thing I've ever seen. You basically just pop in, you can pick up things, there's prices on them, and you're gonna write down what you took and leave your cash. So one more thing to bring: cash. After last 2 years, most of us don't really have cash, but if you want to buy an ostrich egg, you can buy it there for £5. They also have normal eggs for 25p and turkey eggs for 35p. I've read that turkey eggs actually taste pretty similar to regular eggs, but they have a better shape. You also don't have to worry too much about things spoiling. Obviously, there is no fridge or freezer here in the Hobbit Hole, but you can pop them in the communal fridge that's also in that like entrance area. They also make their own jams. I think that's my favorite bit of the Honesty Shop. There's little jams that you can buy there. I think they were 150, but they were made like 2 weeks ago, and we had them this morning over this beautiful, very Hobbit looking bread from 12 Triangles with some French butter. With some French butter and yeah, this beautiful jam. I also put some brie under the jam, which I thought was the hobbitiest of things. Maybe a bit French hobbity, but I don't know, I just feel like hobbits really like cheese. And maybe also some cured meats. That's the sort of, you know, cheese boards and charcuterie. That's what hobbits like. Okay, so we're following Simon to the bathroom now, which is quite special.
Serenaded by Hobbit music.
This thing, you will be pooping, and this is gonna be playing this whole time. And it is evening, and we were lucky enough for it to not be rainy, even though the weather forecast said it would be rainy, but this is Scotland, so you can never ever trust the weather forecast. And we have decided to pop over to Dunblane to M&S Food Hall and picked up some stuff for the grill here. If you decide to do that a bit earlier in the day, apparently there are some really good butcher shops there, which you probably should patron over M&S. Butcher shops were closed, and we picked ourselves up some burgers, and they are now on there. And yeah, we are gonna finish this day with a nice barbecue dinner. Anywho, we did spend quite close of the day kind of exploring around the area of the house, Howfs. And I have to say, like, it is just such a charming place. Like, you can see how much effort and care goes into all of these like livable spaces, but also the gardens around, and obviously all the animals. So I think you're not paying just for, you know, to stay in this beautiful, very like detail-oriented little Hobbit Hole or one of the other places like the treehouse and such, but you also can actually enjoy being here and like seeing the other unique little glamping houses and the animals, and there's just so much to see and enjoy, and like in a very peaceful way. Yeah, it's like the opposite of being in the city, and I love it. Yeah, as you could see in my B-roll, the Hobbit Holes are not the only place where you can stay. There's like a huge treehouse, which is actually quite kind of modern on the inside. I believe it even has like a dishwasher, which is a surprise because this thing definitely doesn't have a dishwasher. And then there's a tiny treehouse, which I believe is priced similarly to the Hobbit Holes. And then you can also stay in one of the larger houses, which I believe is kind of meant for like families trying to stay here, because obviously a lot of these other places are for 2 people only, which makes it very romantic. I think that's nice. We are currently not having any neighbors. I think that right now there's only us and another couple in the large treehouse, and also a lot of kitty cats that come visit us from time to time, which is adorable. And so we have spent 2 nights here in Craighead and we had the most wonderful time. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. This is, I don't know, it's so much more than what I expected. Now keep in mind this is a pretty expensive place to stay in. It's almost £200 per night and there is a 2-night minimum, so this is going to be £400 at least for your stay. Another thing I would keep in mind, if this made you excited to go and book right now, you should definitely book a couple of months in advance. Like right now the summer months are basically booked up. You will go on the website, you will see that there's a couple of like single green days, but because there's that like whole 2-day minimum, that will mean that those are not actually bookable. Another thing to keep in mind, this is not a pet friendly place, so you unfortunately cannot bring your dog or cat. There are cats around, but you're officially not allowed to invite them into your house, although the cat that we met here has invited herself. Like she was in the Hobbit Hole before we got into the Hobbit Hole, so that wasn't our fault. Another thing is most of the house are not suitable for children, so you can't bring kids, and I think that actually kind of gives this even more of a feel of just an all-adult theme park. Now, as you can see, it's getting very drizzly. We were super lucky with the weather yesterday and the day before. We could like sit outside and get the sun in, and there were horses like pasturing, just, you know, we would be sitting inside even like as the sun got down and it got colder, and we would be looking outside through the little round window and there were like horses just like jumping on the grass, and it was so nice. Like this place is amazing and I can't wait to come back. I think that next time we would love to try the little tree house, or the big tree house. I think that would be the next one on our list. But the Hobbit Hole, 10 out of 10, would hobbit again. Don't forget that if you ever feel thin, stretched, like butter spread over too much bread, there are places like this in Scotland where you can just sit down and listen to nothing but the sound of cows and sheep and horses and have a great time. And before I go, don't forget that you can also follow our adventures on KakiBot and KakiBlog for the illustrations and design and merch, and for the photos and videos from Edinburgh and Scotland. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go now. Bye bye, little Hobbit Hole. Yeah, sad, but we'll be back.